This conference will now be recorded.
Thursday, sorry.
Normally he rolls in here about 60 seconds.
Jim?
Gentlemen, how we doing?
Well, you?
And, a site plan for Paolo Bannon down here. So, really shouldn't be too much.
Well, that's not gonna work then. The whole idea is that we need to meet with Ligon to do for next week. Oh, that'll be fine.
Meet at 2.
Yeah, 2 o'clock, that's a good plan.
Would 2
Good
work?
plan.
What Thursday?
Yeah, do that. No, I mean, if y'all are gonna meet, at 1.
I did not learn that until this evening, so that was after I talked to you.
No, but if y'all are going to meet at 1, we have to meet about something else at 2. So we can rotate those. We'll meet at 1 and deal with that, and then do 2.
No, it's fine.
We also need Ligon though. All right, we want to meet on Thursday at 1. Yeah. And then at 2, we'll go down the other
Yeah,
path.
Megan said in his email that he was wide open on Thursday. It sounds like that.
Yeah, well, it sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, he just said 1.
He's flexible.
Good. Any better in between.
What do you have? You got something? All right, good.
Hey, Judd. Hey, Jim. What's going on? Hey, Dustin.
You good down there? You? Not so much. Oh, thank you for that. Good? Awesome. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order. As always, let's start with the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. The only add that I have is last minute, and we're going to call it 3A under new business, and that's a Sheriff's Department supplemental. Anybody else have anything we need to add to the agenda? Jonathan, you have anything down there?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, what would y'all like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. As always, let's start with public comment. Public comment. Public comment. Are we broadcasting this to our vast audience?
It's on YouTube and it's on GoTo.
Good. Yeah, see if anybody's,
Clamoring.
yeah, clamoring. That's a good word. Good word.
You won't see your YouTube traffic.
It looks like it's just us. Yeah, there you go. We're consistent. All right, we'll do it again later. Constitutional officers, county departments, committees, and organizations. Ms. Warren, we'll start with you.
Quick notes. The audit for FY '23, we now have a new date anticipated for receiving the audit back, which is by February 29th. The delays have been on their end. They had some IT issues and some personnel issues that delayed backed up their customer base. And so we should be getting the audit back no later than February 29th. The other item is just the budget, FY '25, continuing to work through that. And then also we're continuing to work through our ERP implementation. We've gotten through the payroll and HR implementation, and now we are finalizing time and attendance. We were hoping to have that live, but we ran into a few issues, and Tyler Munis is trying to fix those for us so that all of our employees can be on time and attendance online. And that's all I had, unless you have questions.
Do y'all mind, I mean, it's on the agenda under 5, but we have Mrs. Warren. I can't imagine it's a whole lot more information. We have a letter in front of us from the County of Madison, delay of the FY 2023 audit. Is there more information that we need to go over about this, or conversations that we need to have?
No, sir, and he said he could get the audit to us probably by the end of this week, but we want to make sure that it's in final form. So that's why we set the 29th, but he is planning on coming to present in March.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this? We can go back over it again. I just don't see any reason to not knock it out while we're here. Jonathan, am I missing anything?
No, sir, and I appreciate Ms. Warren. I mean, there's statutory requirement too for us to post about our delay of audit, so it's one, so the board knows. We have it posted outside as well as on our website, so it's for transparency purposes.
You have comments on
No,
this?
so it's statute, yeah, got it.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Warren. All right, Brian, come on and tell us things.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm gonna give a update on the radio system. December 2019 seems like a long time ago. We are now approximately 91% complete in the radio project. I'm gonna go down a few things, just kind of give everybody a heads up on where we are right now and where we're headed. We signed off on a partial benchmark 3. There's 4 total benchmarks in this contract. We are approximately 70% of all equipment installed. The third benchmark was 100% installed. Because of the delay, we had 3 sites installed for roughly a year now. Because of site acquisition, Churchill got delayed, so on and so forth. So we went ahead and did that. There's about, I don't know the exact number, I've got it written down in my office, but it's a little less than a third of that benchmark left to go. Fourth benchmark is final acceptance. So ECC server racks have been installed and PDUs inside that equipment. All of the console equipment has been delivered to the ECC, but not yet installed. Hoover Ridge, all equipment has been installed. Microwave dishes have been hung. If you notice, the skyline's changed a little bit out that direction. We've got 2 6-foot dishes of about 100 feet from base. Blakey Ridge, the microwave dishes are up there, but they have not been installed because the 2 days they tried, we had about 40-mile-an-hour winds and nobody wants to hang off the 40-mile-an-hour winds. Anticipate that being done by the end of the week. Beautiful Run equipment has been installed. The microwave dishes are up. Church Hill, the retaining wall is currently being worked on. That site is scheduled for completion March the 29th. So
March what?
29th.
Thank you.
So once we get all the civil work done, the foundation for that is scheduled for the first week of March, depending on weather. Obviously, before we started building this thing, we had 6 months of dry weather, and since it's rained every other day. So that's one thing we're fighting up there, but we are getting through it. Training-wise, training will take place in June. That ranges from console operators at the ECC to also Sean and I are going to be working on radio classes for first responders on how to work these radios. The radios we're going to are more like a smartphone than they are traditional two-way radio. There's a lot of things that can be done with these things and so on and so forth. So we're going to get something together on that for our people. Fleet mapping will be wrapped up
What's the date on
by
training?
May at the latest.
You didn't say.
What was your
Training
date
in
on
June.
training? June?
June.
Awesome, thank you. You're going over a bunch. Keep going.
Coming up, fleet mapping will be done by the end of this month and transferred into the system by May. What that is how the system will actually operate. The talk groups, if you think about a computer network, you're putting in drives. You know, how we're gonna operate here, there, and you know, between fire and EMS, the sheriff's office, so on and so forth. Even so far as how we will operate with mutual aid companies coming from Green, Orange, Rappahannock, Culpeper. so forth and so forth. And also, I went down and had a meeting with the state police about a week and a half ago, and we have gotten permission to be on the STAR system, which gives us access to VDOT, Conservation Police, Department of Forestry, which would have been huge last fall. So it's gonna start out as an interop channel, and then we'll grow from there. The state police were really nice, went down there, absolutely, give us your information, we'll get it logged in and program up.
Where's that? Where are they?
Richmond.
Thank you.
Let's see, coverage testing is set for June and July. This is where it may get a little bit off. July, as everybody knows, is our busy season. We've got the fair, the parades, all the little things that we do with the sheriff's office, fire department, EMS. We're gonna try to get coverage testing done in June to try to get it installed for July. Well, if everybody is out doing things, it's gonna be very hard to separate out. So that may push back into August. I spoke with the sheriff said he definitely does not want to be trying to install equipment while we're all doing parades and things of that nature. And I agree with that 100%. So we're gonna work with that, hopefully we can bump this timeline up a little bit, if not, we'll bleed back over into August. And then cutover is set for August of 2024. Tentatively the 15th, a lot of that is gonna be defined by when we can install. And I'm happy to answer any questions, I know it's all over a bunch.
That's a pretty big list.
Yeah. A lot of things are moving really fast right now.
Who has questions about this project or anything else pertaining to Brian?
Well, Brian, when you say cut over in August, okay, so August cut over and we're going live.
Correct. Coverage
All-
testing is gonna dictate that. We go into coverage testing in June or July, depending on how that goes over. We've divided the county into 280-some squares. We'll go to each square, and can we talk or can we not? We'll test that out, see where we are. Right now, we're expected to be at 95% on a mobile, and it's 93% on a portable. So that, what they'll do is they'll hook a piece of equipment, a filter, up to a portable radio, to simulate it being on hip and with a speaker mic, and test it in every single square. And that will tell us what our percentage is on the back side. If it's below what Motorola has said, then they fix it. Find a way to fix it, get us up to where we're supposed to be, which is 93, 99.
Church Hill's gonna be ready for cut over in August,
They
you
are
think?
saying that tower will be done by the end of March, configured in April, and start testing out in
Wow.
May. So, yeah. Now, a lot of that's also depending on how quickly Verizon gets in there for the backhaul mechanism. That contract was signed Friday, they've assigned us an operations manager. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, what was all that equipment up there today?
Up at Churchill?
Yeah.
They're putting in a wall, the retaining wall. for all
Back
that.
behind the tower site.
Yeah, they were all on the
And what-
road, that crane.
And what it 4 courses, 6 courses?
6 courses at its highest.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and it's a retaining wall. Once they get that in, then they can start digging the hole for the foundation, for the generator, the fuel pad, the shelter, and then ultimately the tower itself.
There you go.
So I'm new at this, so is this is all new equipment? And then what do we do with the old equipment? Does that serve as a
The
backup?
old equipment will have some trade-in value, but it's minute.
All right, so we wouldn't save that for
No,
parts
no,
or
no.
anything like that?
Now, some of the MT3000 repeaters that we're using now will be able to be used for spares for our paging system, because we're not upgrading that at this point. So we'll retain all of those.
Okay.
We'll put them in storage, we'll program paging, so if we ever had an issue with the paging system goes out, we grab one, plug it in, it becomes a plug-and-play situation. And then we can worry about what's wrong with the other one, when we're gonna get back on.
Thank you.
And the rest of it, we'll call Max Lacy and get him to put it in the museum.
Some of that is a reality, that's what we wanna do, but there's a lot of it here. I mean, we're tendency we buy trade-in value.
All right. Anybody else have questions? Brian, thank you.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that was a whole lot. That was a whole lot. All right, Mr. Wilks, you have your PowerPoint ready? Oh, good, better. We prefer that. Come on up and tell us things.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Submitted a report for you to all look at, and got it broken down into each little or department within our department. So in the building side, as of January 18th, 2024, we have a new state building code based on the 2021 model I codes with Virginia-specific amendments. ordinance, and there are a lot of changes. So that means the department staff will be going through what they call code update training, discussing the significant changes. We also have 2 members who will be attending the Building Code Academy, Residential Building Inspection and Permit Academy. I've also included a report showing what permits were issued last month. And it's in your report, and it shows the various permit, building, E&S, zoning, whatever it was. Okay, on the zoning side, the work is continuing on the comp plan. Ligon's working with the planning commission and whoever else. We've received a couple site plans, and they're being reviewed now. We've been sharing them with our state partners like Health Department, VDOT. If DEQ is necessary, we're sharing it with them. And under erosion and sediment control, in your packet is a letter we received a little while back, and the state Department DEQ's making some adjustments and changes to the stormwater management and erosion and sediment control plan. And this is something that needs to be looked at carefully and reviewed by, I assume you all, county administration, and definitely our county attorney. At first, it looked like there was gonna be significant changes, but potentially not. That's why we need Hannon to really look at it. In the past, you could opt out of things. We're not doing the stormwater management. And we're reviewing that now, and we need Hannon and Jonathan and y'all to take a look at it as well. Maybe nothing changes significantly, but there will be some changes, and if things have to change, of course, we'll have to update our ordinance, and gotta run through the process, public notifications and all that. So that takes effect July 1, so we don't wanna be behind the ball come June and have to do something. So we just want you all to take a look at that.
So Jamie, a comment period on this stuff is already come and gone?
Oh, DEQ is done. Whatever it is,
okay.
it's done. They notified us via, I guess, email. And we included the information they sent to us in your packet, so you can be aware of it. Whatever it is, it's been completed. And of course, state makes changes, it pushes the county, here, do this. Kind of like the building code. This new building code's got a lot of changes, and energy is everything with the state right now. Some of the new energy requirements, they are what they are, but they're over the top. That's pretty much what I have for now, unless you have any questions.
Anybody?
Yeah, I got one.
Please.
So when builders come into the office down there, they do or don't know about these new codes?
Almost certainly, the majority of them don't know. They don't stay up to date, but we take care of that. We are going to hold a code update training. We did last code science. We held it right here. Put announcements out to builders, engineers, architects, homeowners, whoever wants to come. The more the merrier. Because the changes are here, so you have to work with them. We want them to be aware of it, makes it easier for us.
When are you doing that, Jamie?
Right now, with our Tyler implementation being pushed a little bit. So we're hoping a slower month, not July, because everybody's busy, but dealing with Tyler, getting that system up and running, so it's taking a lot of time, so I don't see how we can do both at the same time, put on something effective.
All right. Roughly. You thinking,
March maybe?
there you go. That works. Thank you.
Roughly.
Yeah, I work off of that.
We'll make the board and the public aware when that date's actually,
Thank you.
firm date provided.
And we'll do one more thing. There's a PDF they put out of the significant changes, and that's what they teach. We posted it on our website, so they have access to it before, after, during, whatever. We have last those cycles still on there. We just left it until the new one came out.
Well, other questions for Jamie? Jamie, thank you.
All right.
Sir. Mooney, come on around.
Good afternoon, Board. A couple things.
courthouse, we've been having problems with the cooling of the courthouse. Found out that the coal in the chiller, it froze up and put a bunch of holes in it. We didn't replace it last year, we repaired it. Now it's time to replace it. So I'm working on, getting some quotes for that and getting that completed, before it's time for cooling season. The boiler replacement at the courthouse, it should be in at any time now. They gave me an update of this expected any time. As soon as it comes in, they can come and replace the boiler, take out the old. We're gonna keep the old for parts for the one we have existing. The War Memorial Building unit is back up and running, it's back in service. They completed that last week, and everything is working good there. Hoover Ridge, recently we worked on a project at Hoover Ridge, adding electric to the flagpole, battery cages, and also irrigation lines to each field out there. That is now completed, and we saved the county a lot of money by doing it in-house. The transfer station, the Woodways, I have two contractors meeting this week on getting two other prices, so we can find out if the contractor we use is compatible actually.
When do we do wood waste last? Do we do it every year, Moon years, every 2
We
years?
do it every year.
On,
And it's a big chunk.
yeah,
And we have to do it every year because it's our recycling.
yeah, that's what,
So, and it helps out tremendous.
when do you have that, when do you think you'll do the actual chipping?
So, we're probably gonna do it after, I was trying to do it before the free brush month, but now we're gonna have to wait till after because it's just short timing. And, with the prices going up, from the other company, then I have to,
Yep.
you know, put get out the bid for that, so, working with Brian, he's helping out with that.
When is Free Brush Month?
It is in March,
All right, so we're talking about doing April, May timeframe?
correct.
Awesome, there you go. Keep going, please.
Recently, we went to check out the roof on the courthouse, the rubber roofing, the membrane, and also the CID building. We're trying to get those repaired. It can save us a lot of money and some years if we could get them repaired instead of replaced right now. We didn't plan on doing that, replacing them. I think we can find a budget to repair them and to get a few more years out of them.
Good.
So, we have a meeting tomorrow morning on a fence contractor for the landfill, in the animal shelter in front of there. We're trying to get a couple prices and a couple bids on those, so we can continue on with replacing that, fence that's knocked down and, that looks pretty bad to make the facilities look a lot better out there.
Just going back with chain link with wire up high. All right, there you go.
Just along Shelby Road?
Yes, it's a
That
long Shelby Road
front?
in front of the animal shelter.
As you approach, it's kind of pulled back this way towards the facility.
We had a lot of trees and stuff fall on that fence and bend it up, so we're trying to replace that, working with the animal shelter on that.
All right,
The DMV office is now completed with, the damage done to the gutters, that's been replaced. Also, the handrails has been done, so that job is now completed. Gas tank is removed from Cricklersville at the, museum. So, all those, it's been a busy month. And coming up to mowing season and all that good outside work, so just looking forward.
good. All right, anybody have questions for Mooney?
Well, I guess the question for mine is the courthouse cooling system. We're looking at another 300,000 or we're looking at 3,000?
Around 11.
11,000. Okay. Phew. I was waiting for another 300,000.
No, I was in Lita's office, 2 weeks ago, and it was like 90 plus in there. It was way hot in there, which
Well, we
seems,
had that warm stretch of 2 or 3 days, and she suffered. We just can't have that. You know, it's something. So what happens is that chiller sucks in cold air, and it freezes the water that's in the pool, and that's what makes it bust. So I'm talking to Riddleberger right now. They're engineers about maybe trying to figure out a damper situation on how much cold air is sucking in, or something like that. So to reduce that.
thank you. Ah, good Lord. We do a lot of HVAC work in this county. I mean, I cannot imagine why
We're coming up on a lot of life cycle repairs. I was gonna pull up the facilities report as y'all continue to talk to see when that chiller's in replacement. So it is a repair of an internal component. I do wanna thank Mr. Timmons, Director of Schools, Facilities Maintenance, whatever state's title is. The schools in Madison County Facilities and Parks and Rec Authority, they work well together. We don't care if they're this department, that department, they work very well together. But Stacy was able to send an A&E firm out to meet Mooney to look at these roofs because what we have programmed in, and this is why you update your numbers, membrane roofing has went from about $14, $15 per square foot to about 24 and a half square foot replacement. And that's just on the courthouse alone, I think that's like a 7,800 square foot roof.
Excellent.
That's why patching and then evaluating is very key. But they, all three of those departments work well together. So just wanted to publicly acknowledge that.
Good. Thank you again. All right, Mr. Ferguson, tell us about dispatch.
Good afternoon. So for January, the center received 138 911 calls from landline, 339 from cell phone. For administrative calls, we received 2,245, and then we made 1,140 calls. For total calls coming in and out of the center for 3,862 calls for the month. That's an increase of up to 109% of what we did last year at the same time. Now, for our calls for service, dispatching for sheriff, EMS, and fire, we had 1,214 calls for the month, and that is 102% of what we did last year at the same time. For our projects, civil work and the radio project Brian covered. For my staffing, right now I've got it down to, we have one position open. I have one dispatcher that just finished the Criminal Justice Academy certification for dispatcher, and I have just hired 2 people in training in the last 2 weeks. And I anticipate them being able to attend the academy on June 3rd. Other than that, that's the end of my report. Any questions?
You advertising currently for the one open position?
No, not this time. It's a small center. I don't have a lot of space to have everybody in there at one time. I got lucky by being able to get 2 people off this last cycle. And I think once I get them through the academy, I'll reevaluate and then start to re-advertise.
Okay. How long is the training academy?
It's 1 week,
All right.
but the on-the-job training can take several months before the person's actually ready to be cut loose alone.
All right.
How about the big jump from last year to this year, same month? What's any reason for it, or?
It could be any number of things. I mean, the population of the county, I think, has remained pretty static, but I think the age of the county has increased. But yes, citizens, but also the buildings. So for EMS and fire, that's an effect. And everything from socio-economic that causes, law enforcement calls.
So not one thing.
Yeah, everything, life.
I guess winter time with illness and being cooped up and,
Oh, now I was gonna go the other way. I was gonna go the other way, is that it's warm and people are out. All right. Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. All right. Ms. Dotson, tell us, how's the shelter doing? Fantastic.
So Gavin ordered and delivered the AED for the shelter building. It has already been installed, and Gavin has been out several times to make sure that it is installed properly and working properly. The tighter results came back for Melissa and Joyce. Both are good now until December 2025. Met with Chris from Security Innovations, went over new camera placement for the shelter. It was scheduled for February 15th. However, it now has been rescheduled for later in the month. He has some work that he needs to finish up. We had one staff member, her last day was January the 31st. We are now in the process of interviewing for potential hires for her position. January's numbers, we had 5 dog adoptions, 2 dog reclaimed, 2 dogs transferred to Raw, which is Rappahannock, 1 dog to POW. We had 8 cat adoptions, 3 cats transferred to POW. I transferred 8 cats from Culpeper to the Madison shelter. All have been adopted. We started February with 3 cats and 4 dogs, and right now I have 3 cats and 3 dogs.
These are good numbers.
Thank you.
All right.
And she's working, and thank you for that, working
Yeah.
on other things to kind of complement the fencing and that's also getting some cost on grubbing, forest type of mulching to kind of clear up some of that area, so.
Trying to make it more presentable to the public. It's kind of all grown up, it just where it hasn't been taken care of. So I'm trying to get it taken care of, so like I said, it looks better.
Yeah. All right, anybody have questions? Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Gavin, come on up, tell us about this, or about emergency services.
We are still in the process of getting the Virginia Emergency Shelter Grant taken care of, so waiting back for engineering. I did follow up with Stacy Simmons last week, and he's got the pressure on him. I think there's been some other meetings as well, so hopefully we'll have that going here pretty soon, and we get that project moving forward. That's the big one on the agenda. We're working with Mountain View Nursing Home. We're gonna have a public safety facility tour. So we'll have law enforcement, fire, EMS, emergency management, anybody on the board or admin that would like to attend, would recommend. We're going to visit their site. We're going to see not only the nursing home, but they've got a water treatment facility plant there. They've got all their other buildings, residential buildings and what have you. So we're going to get a little good tour for those of us who haven't been here before. We have a better understanding and work out some plans in advance. The Verizon SatCal, that's the satellite cellular on wheels. They came back with pretty hefty pricing. So the equipment itself was just under $77,000.
Good Lord.
But the annual cost for the satellite portion is $11,000 a year. And so I have taken it off any requests that I have. I can in good faith recommend something and we can no cost through Verizon. You may not be first on the list, that's the trade-off, but that's just a lot of money, and I don't see it's worthwhile doing this year. LEPC's been scheduled for March 8th. Fingers crossed we don't have to cancel. Last time was the wildfire, so hopefully people don't burn the county down.
Let's hope.
And the last thing
Yeah.
we're working on is.
Correct.
The last thing we're working on is the reimbursement for the Quaker Run cars. Was able to get some more information from FEMA and VDM today. I passed it on to Jennifer and Brian and Jonathan. So at some point we'll have to sit down and talk about it, just make sure we're all on the same page. So I want to make sure that whatever we put through is 100% correct. That's all I have. Happy to answer the question.
Do you have any questions for Gavin? Thank you, Gavin.
Sure.
All right, Noah.
Good afternoon. January was busy, 166 calls, 9 minutes was our average response time.
We're
Two
down
HOA
2
requests
minutes.
to green, two to orange, we're able to help out with all those. I do have an update. I was able to find a good quality EMT, made an offer. She starts on the 20th, so this is not correct. We are back to full staff, which I'm excited about. I'd like to thank Daryl Preston on January 18th. He did a community friends and family CPR event. 9 people attended, and, you know, just as a general reminder, if there's anyone interested in learning CPR, we're happy to help. And then doing weekly blood pressure checks at the Madison Senior Center. This is a good opportunity for our team to get out and be visible and provide valuable health information to the senior center folks. I was also asked to give a brief report / update on the canine respiratory illness. I reached out to Kathy Hatter, who referred me to Daniel Farrell. So he's a senior epidemiologist with the Rappahannock Rapidan Health District. And quote, "To my knowledge, no specific new pathogen has been identified, and there is no evidence at this time that this illness is spreading to other animals or people. Certainly important to keep up with the latest, and he'll let us know if he hears anything different. Until then, the best advice is ask your veterinarian about strategies to prevent canine respiratory illnesses that we do know about. Examples are para-influenza, distemper, and then to get your dog examined if they become ill." He also mentioned Dr. Murphy, that the USDA has increased testing to try and identify new pathogens, but at the moment, the only positive testing is for the pathogens listed above. And again, that's the para-influenza, distemper. So that literally came in today, so that's the most up to date. Happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have anything for Noah? Good job on knocking 2 minutes off your response time. It's been a good month. Thank you, Noah. All right, Livingston. Yeah, I know, we're really getting organized.
Kim needs to hear you for the record, so.
Kim, people don't usually ask me to talk. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, we had to reset the Wi-Fi password this week because we discovered that a large portion of people's cell phones and personal laptops were on county Wi-Fi. So we kicked them off. We ran out of addresses, so we had to kick them off, and we did, no one else could have got one. But since then, we reprogrammed the network to add another VLAN, so we now have an additional 200 and some addresses that folks can use, but we still encourage folks to use the guest VLAN, which has the same speeds and everything else for your phones and personal stuff. But if you do need the password, come to me or Alan, and get that password out, we will give it to us. But that crisis has been averted. A lot of work right now with Tyler, a lot of support in the training. Every day, it's either Jennifer's team or Gene and his team, but there's a lot going on as we get close to the finish line. I feel good about it. I think the IT part of it's going along pretty smooth. We just take whatever curve they throw us and we try to catch it. Sometimes it hits, sometimes we catch it. But soon, that should be over. Alan is off, not off, he's still working, but he's working from home this week because he's working on Microsoft certification training. He's still working, but I figured it would be better for him to be not sitting in the line of fire because we're trying to get this going. We really literally think our pencils like firmly with everybody else. So he's at home working on that. So when he comes back in here next week and y'all see him again, say, look, when's the certification?
Yeah, how long is the certification process?
Well, if you just go at it, I mean, like, you just sit down and get it done,
right.
But he's not starting from scratch. He's been doing this for a while. It's just knuckling down and getting it done and closing it out. And that's where we are. But we need that now for the plan we have to make the department grow. And Alan is stepping up to new roles and new responsibilities. And we want to definitely have him top train. I've got some more lined up for him after this.
Good.
Over the next year, I hope that he continues to excel and we're able to bring more of those system administrative tasks in-house. That's our goal. And multi-factor, except for people who are using VPN is complete. So we finally got through that fun task, and everybody seems cool with it now. You know, at first it was a little pain, but for now, I think everybody's adapted and it's going along good, and we are much better protected on our network now.
Excellent.
So that was good. Next will be the Intune rollout. We're working now to research that. That's going to be so we can track, configure, control all of our mobile devices. Which right now it's like herding cats, but that's about to be done. We're going to have that all on the same page here very shortly. But we had to get the multi-factor done first. And like I said earlier, everything about Tyler is right now just constantly tweaking and learning new things and putting new procedures in place and new functions, making sure everything works, and to print, and cleaning out errors. But I suspect that we're going to spend a lot more time on that up until the rollout, and then we'll probably have another few weeks after the rollout. And then it's not going to stop. We still have to get working on the customer interface. It's not happening. We're probably going to need to come up with another API to go from Tyler, from Affinity to Affinity's Revenue One and Cash One that Stephanie's department uses. We're going to need to do that. And Jamie's department needs them to be able to get in and not have to duplicate their work too. So down the road, Jonathan, we're talking about that. We may need another API. The Kemper Mansion is now on the county network. They got a new PC that's all protected and on our protection plans, things of that nature. Their cordless phones and their desktop phones have all been moved over now into our doors. So.
Is that for the Historical Society?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir, and that is a county facility, so that's
Oh,
why
yep.
we added the line. They ran the fiber, so if you walk up the back walk, you saw that seed and straw, that was the line that came off our building to that facility, but it is a county facility.
Good. All right.
But, yeah, they needed it. They needed it.
Oh, yeah. Good. Skeptical.
Quarantine emails, I can't remember, I haven't had a chance to brief y'all on that or not, but basically, we had to continue to tweak, when all the features was turned on for the new spam and phishing, all kinds of, it's now interrogating emails a whole lot more than it used to be. So, we were missing some emails, find out that they were being quarantined, like your Gmail account or your Yahoo account, it would come through there. I tried to just scan 8 documents back to back to back on a Konica, shut the whole Konica down. So there's these little features inside that we're learning that, okay, we've got to tweak this and tweak that, but it's good. But if you do get quarantined, you're not losing the mail, you're gonna get another mail, and it tells you got quarantine email, and it'll let you go through with that email, decide what you're gonna keep and what's not. So that's another feature I feel like we're a whole lot more protected.
Yeah, well, I got one of those, Bruce, and, I mean, I recognized who sent it, and it said, this email has been quarantined. Do you want to accept it? Well, I felt like that was more you to answer than me. Is like, okay, well, I'd accept it, but I don't know whether you would have.
Well, it depends what it was. But,
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the same page, because it
So-
looks like it's scammy.
well, if it looks scammy, then but say it's like from John.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, well, that's auto delete.
But I mean, yeah, any questions you got on that, we're getting pretty good at this, because we can put the deed on an email and tell whether somebody's trying to get it.
So if I get one, should I give you a call and say, look, this is what I got?
If
I,
you're not 100% sure, give us a call, we'll figure it out.
so this one, well, I mean, I was 99% sure. I mean, I knew the sender and all that stuff, and I was kind of expecting it, but you know how people can get stuff from Bank of America with,
We do it all the time.
okay,
All right, so,
All right.
there you
I
go.
also have your hard drive. I ended up messing with it a little bit, trying to do a few different cables, and I was able to get into it. So I suggest we copy that data over and send it to the guys.
okay.
Good
It's
work.
all day, every day. About it, folks. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Livingston? Thank you, Livingston. All right. Good. I think we've covered everybody. Every time you talk to me, Livingston, I feel like you're speaking a different language. I really,
We'll send him to Microsoft.
I don't know. There's all these terms that I have no idea what they are. It's yeah. Well, yeah. All right. We've got consent agenda. We've got minutes from 102-2024, 109-2024, 117-2024, and then 123-2024. Anybody have any corrections, comments, thoughts, motion? What do y'all want to do with the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, we don't have any special appearances. Let's hear about the swinging bridge.
Swinging bridge. Let's talk about the swinging bridges. So, I don't know, perhaps I'm the only one on this board that was contacted. Marty McGettrick called me, I don't know. But anyhow, I felt like I should let everybody else on this board and the general public know where this stands right now. So you all can remember it's fall of 2020, I think, is when that bridge got shut down. I think it was. So anyhow, there was a 501c3 that was going to get formed in Crigglesville to take it over. Well, that kind of, went out the window. It didn't happen. So Marty McGettrick has decided to revive efforts to get the bridge open again. But so he sent a FOIA request to VDOT asking for all the history on it since it got shut down. But Marty wants VDOT to fix the bridge and keep it in their system. Well, so I made calls to Greg Yates, who is a member of the Commonwealth Transportation Board, and then I called Stacy Laundrie. She is the Assistant Director, District Administrator, and she lives, her property, we need to get an easement from the Laundries to even use that bridge. And then I called Sean Nelson. So the call to Greg Yates was, he suggested that we apply under the TAP program, which is Transportation Alternatives Program. It's a program that supports local partners with smaller populations like us in refining projects for future transportation alternative applications. So they would consider this bridge a transportation alternative. The only problem is the applications, the next round of applications aren't until October 1st, 2025. So when I called Stacy Laundrie and talked to her about it, my conversation with her was twofold. what can be done to get this bridge going again? And by the way, would you and your husband give an easement to whomever to even get to the bridge? So that was, and the laundries seem amenable to doing that if it gets that far. So then I find out, then I talked to Sean Nelson, and he's a great guy to talk to. I think you've talked to him, and I called Sean, I said, hey, man, I understand you got all the answers, so what's going on here? He said, I can convince VDOT that there is enough public interest in this to get the bridge fixed. But as soon as it's fixed, VDOT wants it off of their schedule. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They'll bring it up to code for right now, but they want it gone. So then my next question was, so there's enough public use to get it fixed, but not enough public use to keep it going? He kind of chuckled. He said, yep, that's where we are. So I'm thinking, so I called Samantha Gary of the Robinson Rose Community Alliance. They are a 501c3 that was organized prior to the Crigglesville school thing. And I read their mission, and sure enough, it looked like to me their mission fit right into taking an interest in the bridge. So I called her, and so she is now checking with other board members, said she'd get back to me. But here's the questions that she had, that if they're 501c3, so if they were to consider this, and I wanted you guys to know, she says, what I'd like to know from the Board of Supervisors is whether it would be open, where we would be open, the county, to exploring the possibility of some kind of public-private partnership solution on this issue. Liability is a huge issue for a small community nonprofit, so I wonder if there could be some kind of structured joint ownership that would provide liability coverage and some county expertise on structures and materials for maintenance reviews. Got that, Jamie? And that the nonprofit.
Sounds good, right? Yeah, keep going.
And that the nonprofit, she said, the nonprofit will raise the funds for maintenance, trash, signage, and assume responsibility for managing and overseeing all that. I have a call into Sean Nelson. I want to hear his thoughts. That call did take place last Friday. I don't know what the result of that was. She said, I've yet to speak to two people with the same set of facts on this, so I'm trying to gather the facts. So that's, somebody would have to, either the county or the 501c3 nonprofit would have to obtain the two right-of-ways on either end of that bridge, which I think I asked Hannon, he said that's not a big issue if the parties were amenable to doing that, right? And so we got that going for us. But now what they come back with. So what I wanted to throw this out so we can all be thinking whether we would even consider a public-private partnership. Because, I mean, my first question was, she's talking about the county being responsible for, keeping it up to code. I don't know, what do we know about the code for Swinging Bridge, Jamie?
Just was updated. Go ahead, Jamie, tell us about cable and wood.
I mean, from all indications, what they have now is a far cry from being safe. And I wouldn't recommend the county take this thing over. Besides liability, maintenance issue, where it's located is a nightmare. Just
Yeah.
because it's in a floodplain, so you gotta deal with all of that on top of everything else. You don't know it's sitting up there in the air, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So I won't sit here and belabor anything. I wanted to throw out where this is sitting right now. What do you got? Have you talked to anybody?
I have not received any summary yet from Carrie the conversation you referenced, I was made aware that Ms. Gary had a scheduled call with Sean Nelson. So Sean Nelson is in the Culpeper office.
Yeah.
Carrie Shepherd reports to Sean Nelson, just so you know who we're speaking of and what agency they represent. And it seems like, where we're at today is where we were at a couple of years ago. A 501c3 said they want to pursue this. They had a change in leadership or whatever of the original 501c3. It's not the outfit that Mr. Yao spoke of with the Rose River or Robinson Rose River Alliance. VDOT maintains the same position. We'll fix it. We don't want to own it. The county, up to this current period, and it's up to this board to determine if there's any different change in direction, I need to know is that the county doesn't want to own it. So really, it becomes this thing, is it left in a 501c3? Sounds like if it's even pursued, there may be a potential request for us to have us being the county and involvement in it. So it is complicated. I think in 2018,
I don't
that
know,
bridge
Jim's
was
gonna have some
underwater.
really good comments. I'm waiting. Keep going.
I think in
I
2018.
can see it.
That bridge was underwater for a little bit. So it was close. So, I mean, water does get up high, but it's up to this board. If you have
Go
a
ahead,
change in
Jim.
direction, I just need to
Shoot from the
know
hip.
so
Yeah.
we can look at other things. But it would be insurance. We'd have to run it through legal, a whole list of
Yeah,
things.
I haven't talked to Hannon extensively about this because it was too far ahead, but.
I mean, do we want another Cricklersville school building? Because that's essentially, if we, any kind of public-private partnership, the de facto responsibility and expense would fall on the county. We know that. We're not keeping up our current properties as they should be kept. And I just don't see the value of the county committing to, whether it's providing liability, whether it's providing maintenance. I mean, if there is a foundation that loves that bridge and wants to keep it up and is willing to take care of it, wonderful. That's just where I'm coming from. I can just see Wrigleyville number 2.
Except it's worth less.
VDOT doesn't need us involved, right? If they go ahead with this, they're gonna fix it up to the standard, and then they're
They
done.
want us to probably, it sounds like they want us to, one, secure the right of ways, and then try to find a body that will own the thing.
Yeah, they will only commit to fixing it if they know that there's already an agreement in place that they'll hand it off to somebody. Yep. So, there you go.
I- All right, now I'm gonna say the unpopular stuff. I don't see any reason to do a public-private partnership on this. I just don't. If we're gonna take on the liability and we're gonna take on that responsibility, I'd say we might as well just own the dang thing and be done with it. The one that I think we need to kind of go down the path on, and I think that it has significance to citizens in Madison, and people do hold value. And my joke is, it isn't a joke, it is like Craiglesville, except it's worth substantially less. Actually, kind of the other way, it's a cost. We've been talking about this since 2020. Boy, that's super depressing. If we need to make a decision on, and hopefully the Rose River Alliance will take ownership of it and we can move on and we can go through and try to secure some right-of-ways and then pass along the ownership. If not, we need to make the decision whether or not we just want to be done with this thing and knock it down, or request VDOT to knock it down, or we need to take ownership of it. I do think there are a lot of people in Madison, myself included. I played on that bridge and jumped and did unsafe stuff for years on it. I think there is some value there. But I mean, if this thing belabors and we're talking about this in another year and we have made zero progress, that is pretty sad. We need to get this thing moving through and do something instead of just talk about it forever, which is just useless and a distraction. So let's hope they come back and get on the
Yeah,
ball.
want to do the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if VDOT puts it up to safety standards today, which who the heck knows what that is on a swinging bridge. It shouldn't need a whole hell of a lot of maintenance moving forward, so.
So anyway, I want to throw that up so we can think about it, see, and to gauge, so I'll go down to the Etland store and ask the boys sitting on the porch, what do y'all think about the swinging bridge? I'll get a good answer.
Yeah.
Go to the Sirius store, do the same thing, so.
How long has it been there?
What's that, the bridge?
So is it part of Madison's
Fifties, in the
history?
50s?
It's been there a long, long time.
I think it was.
Let me see if I can pull research.
I
on it.
believe
don't-
something like that.
I can get it back, I can get an answer back to you,
But see,
maybe not today.
the thing is, back in the day when that village was, a hopping little village, and you had kids that were, school bus stopped there, so they would come down the other side, go across the bridge, get on the school bus, all that kind of stuff. People would come across and go across to shop, and go to the store where the Possum store is now, was the grocery store. Like,
Yeah, I
Don't
know,
say-
I know,
I'm
I
not
know,
gonna say it.
I'm not either, go ahead, keep going.
So there was,
Wonderful.
it was more vibrant and there was a lot more traffic, and that's what Sean Nelson was saying, well, I can make a case for it being public use, but not that much public use. Now it's an attraction.
It's an attraction, and then you go there in the summer on a Saturday or something when it's super hot, and they'll be on both sides. The upper side of the bridge, you'll see people, and you see them down in that swimming hole that's right across from Jim Coates' driveway, basically, and you'll see 100 people down there, and that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to make this decision today, I would say I don't want any parts of it, but I'd like to gauge some interest in the county and see where the Rose Robinson Alliance comes down.
Maybe we can make it a toll bridge and make
There you
some
go.
money on it.
Now we are going down the right path.
Troll bridge.
All right, think about it. Let's hope something materializes within the next year. That's incredible. Anything else on the swinging bridges? All right, let's do the sheriff supplemental appropriation. Mrs. Warren?
As you'll probably recall, a little background on this. Back in July, on July 11th, the board approved supplemental appropriation number 2 in the amount of $164,000. It was a federal ARPA law enforcement equipment grant, a reimbursable grant from the Department of Criminal Justice Services that the Sheriff's Department was able to secure. And that was, again, $164,000. And then on November 21st, the Sheriff's Department was awarded an additional $17,000. They submitted a budget amendment recently, and it was approved today. And the sheriff is now asking if we could add this to the agenda tonight so that they can order the equipment. So the equipment, what you have in front of you is supplemental appropriation number 8, and it's for the additional funds of $17,000 on the ARPA law enforcement reimbursable equipment grant. And in the packet, you'll find the very last page is the actual approval that they received. They have their estimates and then the approval on the contract amendment for that grant.
So what kind of equipment are they
Yeah,
getting?
what are
Jennifer?
they, it looks like they're buying monitors and computers with it.
In
Workstations.
the packet, there should be a couple quotes from CEM Computer Services. These are some additional items that they're purchasing, but the original $164,000 was, it was like, I don't even know what it is, a paraclete, all kinds of types of equipment and supplies. But this piece of the $17,000 is more on the computer, IT side.
Oh, they're buying, there's eight computers, Surface Pro laptops there for $12K.
Yeah, that's a reasonable price.
And they did, I also put in the packet a copy of the full
Yeah.
budget that they were awarded and how the breakdown is.
All right. Anybody have questions? Says supplemental appropriation number 8 for FY 2024.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve supplemental appropriation number 8 for 17,000.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion?
You know, Mr. Chairman, may I pose a question to Mr. Livingston?
Please.
Mr. Livingston, I know that the county IT is not as involved with the sheriff department's IT as might be operationally expedient, but does this purchase help alleviate any of their current capital budget requirements on IT? Any near future ones, say in '25?
Honestly, I don't know what they're doing.
It's not a big deal. I just wanted to, I know that this is an ongoing challenge with trying to coordinate those two departments.
I would say that what's happening is probably normal. They're running end of life on some of their computers. That's speculation. Servers, I'd have to see the list, but I don't think that they're, Charles would go, work with them on this if it wasn't needed. We'll help them in any way. I'll be happy to do anything, but they're in their own groove right now. And that's, I don't hear anything of what's going over there. I don't hear anything of what they're buying or what they're needing or anything.
Okay. Well, thank you, and Ms. Warren, you don't have to ask. I was curious as to whether we were aware of how that fit into their budget requests.
Lieutenant McKnight did pass on to me that this grant will help them with some replacement that they needed in the IT side.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, so Jennifer, so the sheriff's department has submitted to your office that there's the capital improvement budget for this coming year that maybe did or did not include this stuff, or do you?
I don't recall it including
Any
IT
IT stuff.
equipment.
Okay.
Jonathan, do you?
I'm going to take a quick peek at that. I don't recall IT equipment. I recall like vehicles.
Correct.
CAD server was in there, CIP. So, but that's not, thank you for that. But, yeah, these items, to answer your question, Vice Chairman, are not included in their FY '25 CIP request. Thank you, Mr. Ware.
Okay. All right. Other questions or comments? There is a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mrs. Warren. All right. Anybody have anything they want to discuss? All right. Information and correspondence. Jonathan, you taking this? Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner, please.
Hello. So we've had a change to our MuniCode account, and we want to make sure that you all are aware. So this is just as information. So we have our Madison Code, which is your amended and approved ordinances online, and then a few county departments have paper copies in the form of a binder. The company that we facilitate this through is called MuniCode, which is also purchased by Civic Plus. So if you look at the account overview, you'll see that listed on there. So what this process looks like, it is you will, as a board, approve an amendment, or you will create an ordinance, and then after you have all voted and approved it, I send it to MuniCode by email. And then they look at our account and they take action based on what our subscription is. So I'm going to walk through our subscription and tell you the changes. So our supplements, which is what they change is they change it per page. So once a year, we have it set up that I receive paper copies of the changes, and our account online is edited once a year. What we're changing that to is we're going to continue to pay per page because we are a small locality and it doesn't quite make sense to do their annual subscription for that yet. but we're gonna do it twice a year. So it's being changed. I'm getting packets twice a year rather than once a year. It's being changed online twice a year instead of once a year. And then we're also gonna do a program called Ord Bank, and I want to show that to you online because it is going to cost an additional $450, but I do think it's going to be super beneficial to the board, the planning commission, legal, and then also other departments. Because what the problem is now is if you amend something, it doesn't get edited on the online version or the paper version until it was once a year, and now it's going to be twice a year. So that way, the public and anybody that looks at the Madison Code online will be able to see what's been sent in, even if it hasn't been updated yet.
Pending items.
Yes, yes, sir. And just to throw out too, if anyone's looking at the packet, we also pay a separate fee just to have it online, but we already do that, and we're just going to continue to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up on my computer just really quickly our code. So on our code, this is the new feature. So normally if there's going to be changes when you first get onto the code, which is on our county website, it'll tell you any changes here. But you'll see this icon right here. You click it, and right now it says 0 ordinances because for 2024 we haven't done any. But once you all amend or create a new ordinance, that will be on here before it's updated in the actual ordinance. So anyone that clicks the code will be able to see that, including the public. I pulled up Greene County, so I want to show you because they do have this feature, and they have an ordinance from 2023. Their ordinances haven't been updated yet, so they still have stuff there. So this is the main page when they first get on to the code. It says there's some changes. Here's the ordinance number. And then if you go over here to this icon, you can see the years since they've had this Ord Bank. They click it, they see all the ordinances, they can click it, and once it loads, you can see the PDF version that was signed and get all kinds of good details about it. So that is the new feature, other than it also being updated twice a year instead of once a year to make sure that everyone is in the loop and it's being communicated well. Any questions?
Yeah, would you mind, go to the Madison County homepage.
Of the website?
And let me follow the bouncing ball through to where you are.
Get into the ordinances. Is that your
Yeah.
question? Okay, so let me see. All right, so if I'm on the main page,
Yeah.
and this is what it looks like, I go to government and hover over it. I'm going to go to this blue Madison code, or Madison County code, sorry. I click it, and this is a little description about what is the code for those who aren't aware. And then you're going to click this bullet, and I'm going to say, yes, proceed to another site, which it is safe to do, and that's the code. And then if I want to see those ordinances, I'm going to click here. And then once I've sent them in, there'll be PDF versions there.
So it was just above chapter 1. Go back.
Yeah,
What does that
the menu
say?
icons to the left. So the gavel is what we're looking for.
Okay. I can't read it from here.
It's challenged, I agree. Anybody else have questions on this, comments? Do you think this is good? And even though that they are pending, they are still law once they're passed by us. It's just updating of the formal code.
Yeah, you might.
And I know it seems like crazy, like, why is this Ord Bank? Because it's published online, but it's not published online. So when you all approved codification, I think that's how this originated in 2017, and MuniCode has since been purchased by Civic Plus, but MuniCode is still providing that service. So if you may recall how we kind of came to this resting point when we were considering a sign ordinance or amending that for polling places and so forth. There was an advertisement went out, there was a paragraph C or whatever reference, and we found, paragraph C doesn't exist. So the former days, you have hardbound copies, which we do. I think there's 7 or 8 hardbound copies. The court has one, Commonwealth's attorney, county attorney, myself, there's one for the board, county planner, and so forth. And those supplementals that Kim referenced, they were hard copies mailed to us. And then she would, at that time, we created our own process. Would you like us to update your binder? If so, we'll pick them up, send it to us, whatever. But we update all that, and it tells you what pages put up. We were getting that once a year. So you can pass an ordinance in February, but not get that supplemental until January the following year. It's too far behind. So you will get that supplemental update, as Kim just described, twice a year now. But what about the pending? Well, when you have a lot of changes, and I've sat in some of the planning commission workshops and other times where you passed one, but did we pass it? I don't know unless it's showing somewhere. So the Ore Bank was a way, and we did look at other communities, see how they're doing it, but it's a way to capture that. So there's no question if there's something pending. It just hasn't been codified, if you will, published to your actual code. So it is an increase, we believe, service to you all, the decision makers, the citizens and staff, to make sure we're accurately tracking what the board has passed and what's pending publication.
So how long does it sit in the gavel section? Is that, it goes in, we pass it, it goes there, and it sits until the one of the
6
two
months.
updates? So it happens twice a year.
Yes, so it'll sit there until they accumulate all the changes, and they're gonna do that twice a year. It'll happen at the end of the calendar year and the end of the fiscal year. Well, it'll, into June, they'll start working on editing it.
When it's sitting under that gavel section, just for the public and for me to know, when it's in that gavel section though, it's passed by the board and it's
Yes.
law, or
Yes,
it's
sir.
code.
Signed.
Okay.
Yes, I don't send anything until the board's approved it.
And who puts it on there?
Municode, the company, as part
Puts
of
it-
our subscription.
So it either
Okay.
comes from Kim or myself as the authorized submitters to
Muni.
Municode.
Okay.
and they publish it there.
Anybody else have any comments?
Well, other than, you said, one more, it costs $4.50, is that $4.50? Is that $450, or
We
is that
appreciate your
$450,000?
$450.
Okay,
No, doing this though,
We're saving on the
question.
re-advertising.
per year.
Yes,
Oh, okay, I can go with that.
not
we were
per.
thinking every 6 months, trying to roll them together, yeah.
The only thing you have to pay every 6 months would be the cost for per page, which you do once a year, so you're just breaking that cost in half, paying it twice a year rather than once a year.
Understood. This should help. I mean, how many times have
Yeah.
we sit in planning commission and we're like, well,
Right.
did we actually pass this? Now it has a mechanism. It's something that should be helpful
That's
for us
critical.
and then also helpful to the citizens. Thinking about things like the 6 accesses on the driveway now, that will be up there. And these are things that we have passed at this point but need to be kept track of, which has not always been our strength. So, anybody else got anything? All right. I think we've done the FY23 audit completion letter. Anybody else have anything on that? I hope not. Excellent. All right. Anybody else got anything? Public-
For information, sir. That's
Sure.
what I would like just
Yeah.
one thing. Jennifer and I just, oh, okay, she's allowed to go. We just met with Davenport today. You may, some of you may be aware, but for the full board knowledge, back in, I think, November of 2019, the board signed an agreement with them. So they are acting in a financial advisor capacity, but also, so that can give you debt forecasts and things like that, but they were also with you during the process of the last borrowing of funds. I think that was the public radios, that was the primary school renovation, and I can't recall if
County
it was
system.
these two buildings or not.
ERP system.
So we have met with them to ask them to really examine our financials. We're waiting on the audit, that's a big part of it. We'll give them our CIP. We'll talk about revenues currently, what's projected, and obviously any change in that position in the audit. We also asked them to, when you're talking about financial modeling or forecasting, we want to look at things that you all have started to maybe put money back for, or those high reoccurring costs that may be coming up, such as reassessment. Before my arrival, you all started putting a little money back. So I think we should look at that maybe as an annual kind of setting aside monies. Fleet replacement, it seems like whether it's, and this isn't a bad thing, I'm just saying on general terms, it seems like between buses or other fleet vehicles on the annual basis, you can range almost around about $500,000 in that alone. So are we keeping up with those costs? And then you have those every 5 or 7 year costs, such as the reassessments that come around and ambulance replacements, which they're around $470,000 now. So the goal of that is, look at all your debt and your current load and so forth, and what makes sense for pay-go recommendations versus any debt servicing, or just overall, how do you handle some of these newer costs that are going to occur? The radio maintenance, the first year after we go live, there's a 6-figure radio maintenance agreement that's in place. So we just want to be looking outward. I think that goes hand in hand with Supervisor Jewett's recent recommendation and the board's approval of a strategic plan. So we think that fits right into it. So they're going to send us a checklist, some things they need, and then at some point in the near future, I'd like to get back before the board, probably as well as Davenport, and talk about what that scope of work would look like. And if there's any, if you want to revise that scope of work, or you can ask those questions. So we're earlier on, but this should line right up, in my opinion, with your budget process of really giving you information and you all making decisions on what projects you want to fund, how you want to fund them, and look at revenue source and future commitments, and how does that fit in with your current fund balance. So just want to put that on your radar.
All right, just since you brought it up, have they broken into teams or anything yet, Jim?
Tuesday, Jonathan and Dustin and I are gonna go over and present, our requirements.
Good.
And it'll be they're doing pre-work now, but it'll be underway officially.
This is for the strategic plan with JMU, just so everybody knows. That's great. That's great. Oh, look forward to seeing how that's gonna come together. Anybody else have anything? Public comment. Public comment. Public comment. Nobody. Good. Oh, all right. I still, the Firefly people, they're out doing a lot of site work, or not site work, but in pre-engineering stuff. I saw them today. They're outside of Madison, so they're moving on through. Anybody? All right, we don't have a closed session. What would you all like to do?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sir, Jim.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
He sent it.
We just sent it now?
Yeah.
Rich, 20 people out there walking. I mean,